Well, hello to all of you people out there that are lucky enough to be listening to this very short and sweet webinar. I really appreciate you coming here. You're probably getting it on a recording other than regular live, and so I'm going to treat it as if I'm talking to you like you're the only one on this call. And here's what we're going to discuss very quickly: how to get as many new clients as you can handle without wasting time and money on worthless marketing. Average salespeople, and most of them are, and I was a recruiter for many years for salespeople, I'm telling you, most salespeople are average by definition. Stupid networking, ineffective cold calling, and embarrassingly bad advertising. And most of the advertising out there is embarrassingly bad because everybody seems to be copying from each other's bad advertising. You're also going to learn how to present your perfect message. Deliver that perfect message to your perfect prospect and at the perfect time. And here's the most important thing: the perfect time for them. All of you are listening to this and you're watching this at the perfect time for you. You're in control. That's what's so special about this program. You're in control. And the fact is, many people are listening to this all day and all night while I'm either doing something else or building something else or practicing something else and bettering myself. You don't need to be a great salesperson to sell more of your product. All right, so I'm going to try to make this interesting. I know this is you right now, and you're saying, oh, heck, another flipping webinar that we have to sit through. I promise you, stick around to the end. It'll be worth your while. It'll be worth your time, not only for the special gifts that you'll get, but just for the knowledge that you'll get. It won't cost you anything. All right, so brief history about me. This is me right there, the one with the goggles on. I look like a fly. I know it. I was at a bar mitzvah a million years ago. But even like this, even at this age, I was always wanted to be a cowboy. I could never see myself in an office or just, following the rest of the herd and doing what everybody's doing. I knew from a very early age I was going to be in my own business and I was going to do my own thing. And that's what I did. So my first business when I was 18, I had a deli there in New Jersey. I then had a restaurant supply business in Manhattan. I became a stockbroker, first with Bear Stearns and then with Smith Barney. Interesting story, very quickly. Both of those places are out of business. I mean, I was a terrible stockbroker, but nobody was better than me at opening up more accounts. That whole Wolf of Wall Street thing, that was kind of what we were doing back then. They didn't go out of business because of me. I quit actually because one day somebody came to me and they said that he was getting divorced, a friend of mine. And I looked around and the 4 offices all around me, everybody had gotten divorced. And so I went into my manager's office and I said, today's my last day. He said, why? I said, you know what? I don't want to get divorced. And that's the whole thing. When you're in business for yourself, you're able to make your own time and you're able to make time for your family and do that whole thing. So very important. Time is very important to me. If it's not important to you, then this probably won't, you probably wouldn't be watching this now. Then I had a pest control business, which by the way is an awesome business. It's quarterly, it's renewable income. It's really a great business. Inexpensive material. In fact, now with all the environmental stuff, a lot of times you don't put any material. You just use a brush. I had a lawn care business, a truck rental business. These were significant $1 million type of enterprises in employing many people. Business brokerage business, staffing agency was my latest one, and now I'm in this consulting practice. And with all this, I learned something very important about myself. I'm a terrible businessman. It's just not me. I'm really good at growing a business and building a business and getting customers, but as soon as it becomes the time to run it and stuff like that, boredom or whatever, it forces me to do something else. And my biggest sale is to be able to keep my wife because, marriage to me isn't all that easy. I'm an awesome salesperson. That's what I do. And so because of the sales, I got into kind of sales training, and I'm the cold call guy. Ain't nobody cold call better than me. I've never met my equal. I actually like it. You know, I like cold toilet seats too, so I'm an oddball in that respect. But I started training that, and I can teach anybody the right words to say, the right inflections to say it, how to enjoy it, how to transfer your energy to somebody else on the phone that they'd be interested, at least in your product, and give you an opportunity to present your service. The challenge is I started doing a lot of this, and I do a lot of, and I can rev anybody up. But I learned something very quickly after a few years of doing this, and with many companies, large and small, for different amounts. People pay you thousands of dollars to come in there and rev their people up and give them new ideas and all that stuff. And then I realized I'm terrible as a sales trainer too, because as soon as I leave, as soon as the enthusiasm ends, people don't want to be salespeople. And so they don't. They get revved up like this. You know, I don't want to be a fireman, so I'm not a good fireman. So I don't want to be an accountant, so I'm not a good accountant. But if you are, if you have a small business, or if you're looking for a job, or if you're a dentist or a professional or a consultant in some, that's what you want to do. You want to consult. You want a financial plan. You want to do all that. You don't want to sell, and so you won't do it. You see yourself as Herb Tarlick. You don't want to diminish yourself as a salesperson, so you just don't do it. And I feel terrible letting you, because this is what you think of yourself. This is what my mother thinks of a salesperson, by the way. I mean, she's devastated that I'm a salesperson. It's a nightmare. You know, she goes to parties and she tells her friend, "Oh, how's Danny doing? How things are going on?" If you were with her right now, she would say, "You know what? He's doing fine. The family's doing fine. Yeah, he's in between jobs, but he's looking for." I mean, she's so it just eats her up inside, because this is what she thinks her son is. It's not, by the way, but that's what she thinks. And this is what you might think of a salesman. And because of that, you're going to fight yourself. I promise you, by the time you get to the end, you're not going to need to look like this or think of yourself like this. You're never going to have that uncomfortable, kind of nauseous feeling of asking somebody for the order and saying, what's it going to take to get you into this car? You never have to do it. These are salespeople. These are people that come to the top of their game. People don't realize, to get to be a billionaire, to get to do all this, man, you got to be selling something. This is what I want you to be. The challenge is you got to kind of be born with, but here's the thing, not born with that kind of innate sales ability. That you can learn anyway. You can buy a course, for crying out loud, and do that, and I'll have something to sell you if you want. Not born with that, born with the kind of killer drive, where you're just going to go after it no matter what. Something's just going to get you. My son is like this. If you asked him when he was 12 years old, Matthew, what are you going to be when you grow up? He wouldn't skip a beat. A multimillionaire. I'm just going to be a multimillionaire. Well, what are you going to do? I don't know. I'm going to be a multimillionaire. He's 19 now, not quite a multimillionaire yet, but he's got a plan at this point. Some people just have that drive, and that's what these people have. That's what they're born with. I'm not saying you're like this. This is the opposite, though I have been in this position many times. So what happens? I'm trying to train salespeople who are prone to be like this guy here, and try to turn them into these world-class people. If you don't know who these are, this is here to the left. This is Brian Tracy. Of course, Tony Robbins. Here's Jim Rohn. By the way, Rohn. If you don't listen to Jim Rohn on YouTube, you're literally missing out on life. If you just for a week don't listen to the news and listen to solely Jim Rohn, your marriage will get better, your life will get better, you'll earn more money, you'll have more friends, and you'll learn how to cook. The guy I was doing a conference once. There were 6 speakers there. I was one of the 6. Every one of them had a quote and a line from Jim Rohn. He's like the master. He actually started out Tony Robbins. Then there's Les Brown. Les Brown, who made $60 million, he said, from one speech. $60 million from one speech. And then, of course, here's the master. This is Dan Kennedy, who is self-described as a terrible speaker. But these guys were my mentors, because what I learned from them is the people who earned the most money as speakers were people who learned how to sell from the stage. Dan Kennedy over here, he would take jobs for free, but he would make $50,000 a speech selling his products. So I said, I got to learn how to do this. And that's what I set out to do. And so I said, heck, I'm going to learn how to sell from the stage. And that's how this whole program really got started. So how do you learn how to sell from the stage? You can buy books, you can take courses, you can do all this thing. But I always take advice from my dad. That's my dad and my aunt. They've both since deceased, but they left some advice that I want to give to you. So my dad only went through 6th grade, but he came up with some doozies. One of them was this, by the way. This is a great one. Half effort doesn't produce half results. Isn't that great? Half effort produces no results. It's not like nothing. It's not the 90% work that gets anything done. You gotta be all in. That's my dad saying. But another thing he said to me, he's a little Jewish guy from France, and I said, Denny, when you want to learn something, he goes, remember this. It's like the 11th commandment. He said, Denny, never pay retail. So I wanted to learn how to sell from the stage. Instead of buying books, instead of taking courses, instead of doing all that, I went and got a job. I sold Vitamix machines like this at Costco. I'm sure you've seen this. But I learned the whole pitch and everything down. I went there over through the holidays. It was a 10-day period. I sold 120 blenders at $500 a piece. And I learned it's like a microcosm of sales. You have to, get people to your booth. You've got to, rile them in there. You've got to keep their attention, and you got to close and ask for the order and keep your energy up and keep it excited and make it like an event. And something magical happened when I did this. And I call it the Vitamix Revelation. And this is where you really need to start listening. This is the magic that turns, just these words into how you are going to earn money from this idea. And that is this. One day, during this 10-day period, during the holidays, when I was selling Vitamix machines, the unthinkable happened. And I lost my voice. This isn't me, but this is exactly what I was doing. But I'm there, and they're constantly talking. So what happens when you lose your voice? How can you sell? How can you present? What are you going to do? You got to show up. It's Christmas time, for crying out loud. So what I did was I took my entire pitch that I had totally memorized perfectly, and I wrote it down in a loose leaf binder, and I wrote it all out, and it looked just like this. And on the cover, I put this little thing. Sorry, I lost my voice, but no worries. You can still own a Vitamix machine today. Good news, huh? You see that good news, huh? I actually said good news, huh? And people would nod. Then I would give the whole written presentation to somebody who was watching, and I just did the whole pitch, and they gave the whole pitch. And it ended with this page. It comes in 4 fashionable colors for you today. You can buy them all now. Red, white, black, and slate. Slate, by the way, is the most popular. Now is the time to think. Which would look best in your kitchen? The Vitamix Revelation was one day when I said this. So the only question I have left is, which color looks best in your kitchen? Some lady looked at me and she said, I'll take the black one. Isn't that great? I'll take the black one. I sold my first 2 machines that day, $500 machines, without saying a word. And right there, the Robot Salesman was born. This is Flippy. We need to automate your whole sales business. But it's your personality. So this is Flippy. This guy just came out. He's actually called Flippy. So Flippy never calls in sick. Flippy can work 24 hours a day. Flippy doesn't need insurance. Flippy just needs to be told. You know what Flippy does? Flippy will ask for the order every single time. Flippy just doesn't care about if it's too hot or it's too cold. Flippy just flips burger. Your robot salesperson is Flippy. Now, our Flippy, our robotic salesperson is called, wait for it, you ready? The Deej man. That's me. So it's the Deej man. The Deej man, or the Deej, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call him yet, but the Deej, which is my alter ego, this guy is the best. Picture this. Your robot salesperson, we'll call him the Deej, speaking in your own voice, not my voice. You don't want to be me. You want to be you. My dad taught me this other thing. He said, one day I had my deli, my first business, and some guy came in the afternoon, and he says, I'm a little hyper, and he goes, Deej, listen, you're a nice guy, it's a good place, and all this stuff. He goes, I can't come here in the morning. He says, you drive me freaking crazy. You're too hyper, you can't do. So I calmed down, and a couple days later, my dad comes to me, Danny, qu'est-ce que tu fais? What are you doing? Where's my son? And I told him the story, and so my dad gave me a little more advice. He said, Danny, remember this. He goes, your friends, your customers, and your employees will become a reflection of yourself. And if you act like somebody different, you're going to wind up at 50 years old surrounded by a bunch of people you don't like and don't like you. And I'm saying the same thing to you. Your robot salesperson speaks in your voice, with your personality and your attitude. Heck, you've heard of the 80-20 rule? I'm like 70-30. 30% of the people just don't dig my program. They don't like me. They won't buy from me no matter what. They're not my customer. I deal with the 70%. Well, your 80% is other people with your personality. So your robot salesperson, your flippy, needs to be your personality, your stories. It's you selling automatically. It's unbelievable. Isn't this great? The salesperson works 24 hours a day without getting tired or bored. Your salesperson never gets embarrassed pitching to the wrong person or getting personally offended. You're never sitting there at that awkward presentation trying to gauge what their facial expressions are. Trust me, if you guys weren't interested in what I was talking about right now, you would have stopped this long ago. You're only going to be talking to the customers that are interested in buying and can qualify. Gosh, this is so good, I can't stand it. Now, look at this. Your salesperson always asks for the order without fail. Every single time they ask for the order. Isn't that great? Even if they know that the person's not going to buy, who knows? Maybe they know somebody else. Just knowing that you'll always ask for the order without fail, that's going to increase your sales rate double. Just that. Your salesperson always remembers the most important points of the presentation and delivers them perfectly every time. Perfectly every time. Your salesperson is persuasive. In fact, if you think about it, it was my robot salesperson, it was my automation, it was my Deej that brought you to this webinar. Think of that. I don't know what time it is right now that you're watching this, but I'm not doing it. I've already done it. This is what we can build for you. Your robot salesperson loves its job and is happy to do it. Doesn't have to wake up in a good mood because he or she never goes to sleep. He's always in a good mood. Isn't that great? I know you're nodding your head right now. This is all exciting. So here's my question for you. Which color looks best in your kitchen? You ready to buy yet? Okay, let me tell you who this won't work for. It's very important. This doesn't work for everybody because there is obviously a cost to it, okay? It won't work for someone who has a company that has a low lifetime value of a customer. When I had I had a lawn care business, pest control business, truck rental business all together in the same building. So I wanted to do with the lawn care business, it was only beneficial for us if we had people close to each other. So if there was a neighborhood, I needed at least 10 or 20 homes in the neighborhood. And I knew, just from research, I knew that somebody who was with me, for me putting down the weed control on their lawn, they were going to stay with me about 7 years. It cost about $500 a year that they were spending with me on various things. And so over the 7 years, it was a $3,500 lifetime value for a customer. So anytime I got a customer, it was $3,500. So the question I came up with is, how much am I willing to pay to earn a $3,500 customer over 10 years? So that was my thing. And through all my advertising that I was doing, I figured out by mailing them stuff and getting back, it cost me about $100, maybe $120 per customer. So that's what it costs to get a customer. So knowing that, and you need to know that number about your business, knowing how much it takes for you to get a customer and then the lifetime value of that customer, that's where it all starts. If the lifetime value of a customer was, $500 and I was going to keep them, well, then this probably isn't right for you. Okay. There's different things. By the way, a way that I got customers in the lawn care business at lower than $100 is I would knock on doors, and I'd knock on doors in a neighborhood that I was trying to build up. If I only had 10 homes there and I wanted to get 20, I would knock on all the doors and I'd say, you sign up with us right now for a year contract, and I will give you this crisp $20 bill. I was actually paying $20 to get a customer. Give them give them the money after they sign the contract. I knew you would say that's crazy and all that, but I know that the customer cost me usually $100 or $120. So I was really saving $80 to $100 doing that. Very important to know that number in your business. All right, real quick sales lesson that you'll forget. People will buy. Don't worry about how to sell. Worry about why people buy. People buy because they like you, they trust you. By the way, every time I'm in a conference, I'll ask who thinks what's more important, like or trust. Everybody says trust, and then I say now only the women. How many of you women, so I'll ask you women that are listening right now, how many of you women have ever gone out on a second date? Not a first date, but a second date with a guy that you didn't like at all. I mean, he was horrible, but you trusted him. And nobody raises their hand. It's like. Now, it very quickly goes to trust, but you must be likable. They must believe you, and then they'll have a desire to do business with you. This is like when you see two kids on the side of the road in a lemonade stand. You're not even thirsty, but you'll go ahead because you have a desire to make them happy. But it starts with like. Please remember that. It's very important. All right. This is why you being a salesperson, you think people aren't going to read your full throated letters and these long format letters and this direct response stuff. They will. People say you can't lead a horse to water, but I'm telling you, isn't that a funny picture? Yeah, you make not starve. What's it? Thirst. What is it when you're trying to not starve is hunger? Anyway, you don't give the horse any water for a few days. You're gonna lead them to water. You can make them drink. You can turn them into that. They need it. And so that's what we do with our letters. We kind of build that type of suspense that they want what you have. In your voice, with your sales, with the headlines to keep them reading more. You want these results, these results, these results. And then in the letter and in the format letter, all their objections. So you say to them, many people think about this. And then you say, if they think this is what we do to fix that. And you overcome all the objections in your sales letter. So this is what the automated salesperson does for you. We create your perfect sales message. Not an introduction to your service, an actual sales message, which leads people down the path. I'm interested, I'm interested, I'm interested, I'm interested. Click here, I'll buy. Click here, I'll buy. And so while you're sleeping, people are convincing themselves to buy. Gosh, it's like magic. I can't stand it. This is all from a Vitamix. Can you believe? All right. So how do you build that letter? Write this stuff down. Keep this. This is good. You could use this for anything. You could use this when you want to, convince your wife to go out to a particular movie. You use all these things. So there's 6 stimuli for the perfect sales message. Could be written, could be verbal, could be anything. This is what you came here. First thing is, it's about you, baby. It's about you. Don't you worry about, when I say you, I mean you, the customer. It's about you right now who are listening to this. I'm gearing this all towards you. If you want to get more customers, it's up to you. The more you, in your sales pieces, say the word I, we, or us, the less anybody else is interested. Everybody's interested in themselves. Keep it that way. Contrast. You need to stand apart and you need to sound different. And the best way that you can sound different? Complete and utter honesty. You're not fooling anybody. This product that I'm doing is not for everyone. I'm not trying to convince anybody to do anything. I'm trying to show what it does, and you can make your own decision. If I'm calling somebody on the phone for a cold call, and by the way, cold calling is a big part of this too, but don't get overwhelmed. You won't have to do it. It's cold calling. If I'm calling somebody on the phone and they say, "Is this a cold call?" My answer to them is yes. This is a call. This is as cold as it's freezing. This is a freezing call. Absolutely. It freaks people out when you're so honest with them, and they're bound to trust you more. Stand apart, sound different, get in front of people differently. Tangible input. Now that's a fancy way of saying talk like a human, will you? The way you would talk in person is the way you need to talk on all your sales material. Ultimately, people are doing business with you, not with your company. You are the addict. You are the brand. And you can, and people like you. The people that don't like you aren't going to buy from you. Make sure your brand is what's speaking to people. Donald Trump, like him or dislike him, got elected president of the United States with the vocabulary of a sixth grader. You certainly can sell your website services with this. You certainly could sell your real estate with this. He became president of the United States. It'll work for you too. The beginning and the end, that's all you remember. So make sure your headline and your header, the beginning, and then you sum it up at the end. That's all people can kind of understand. The whole product's on the inside, that's all details. All they want to hear, what we do is we get gigs for consultants and coaches, keynote speakers. And then this is how. But all you remember is what we do is we get gigs for coaches, consultants, keynote speakers, teachers, real estate agents, things like that. That's all you remember. So make sure that goes in, and then you sum up at the end. A good way to sum up is with a PS. Everybody likes a PS. Visual stimuli. The more pictures and videos, the better. The more pictures and videos, the better. Take a look at your website. Take a look at, does it look like everybody else's? Does it talk like everybody else's? Does it give me something to do, or is the main goal of your website just, find out about us? I couldn't care less about you. Put a video there of you talking to your customers. Emotion. You'll see in this presentation that I gave you right now in this webinar, picture this, imagine this. If I were to ask you right now, do not think of a pink elephant. Do not. All you can think of now is a pink elephant. Somehow when you say those words, imagine this or picture this, it opens up your mind and it allows things in. Is this not the most informative webinar you've ever been on? I want to kill you. I'm even going to give you a bonus. Here's a bonus. Check in often. Does that make sense? Check in often. That's how you check in. Just like you do it in person. I guess they call it trial closes in the sales vernacular. Does that make sense? Fair enough. Is that good? Does that work for you? Are we on the same page? All those things where you're checking in with somebody to find out. You can do the same thing on paper or on video or in a webinar. In fact, there were probably places in here that you could remember that. Actually, remember the thing that I said, pretty good, huh? There it is. You nodded your head whether you liked it or not. All right, don't get overwhelmed. I know you're trying to picture yourself doing all this stuff, and there's plenty of products you can buy, and then you're not going to do it. Don't worry, I'll hook you up at the end. No worries. All right. Delivering your presentation to the perfect prospect. The only people that are watching this right now, people like you, the only reason why you're watching this is because it applies to you. Let that sink in for a second, because the only people that are going to listen to your presentation are your perfect prospect. The rest of them will be long gone. So your goal is to create the perfect message and then attract them to your funnel and allow them to hear the message that they want through your sales messages and your emails. Gosh, it's just magic. All right. So the only people that are going to be your perfect prospects are people who raised their hand and got into your funnel somehow because they have a need, they have a want, they have a desire, they have the money, and they qualify. Only the people that raise their hands in interest get your pitch. It should be that way in person, so it should be that way on paper, on video, or on webinar, or anything like that. All right, deliver your message at the perfect time for the prospect. We talked about that earlier, but with the Deej man, by definition, they can only listen to it when it's the right time for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't. They'd be done. Now, if you're worried, maybe they're going to forget about it, email doesn't cost anything. Click here. Isn't that great? Come on, Nadia, tell me it's great. Say it out loud. Say, oh my gosh, that's great. I love this gal looks very happy, doesn't she? All right. You can do it yourself. It won't cost you anything. All of you probably have some sort of CRM program or some sort of automation stuff. I use ActiveCampaign. There's MailChimp. There's all sorts of free stuff you can do that can automate your emails that go out to people. You can create all these emails yourself and all these sales letters yourself. You can get a copywriter to do it. Here's the challenge. You just won't. You won't. It's too much. You just won't do it. Even if you'd much rather spend thousands of dollars to have somebody else do it and pray, and two things happen. One, you have someone else to blame, and you by not doing it yourself, you don't have the excuse that maybe it just won't work. Because you just, I just can't. You just won't do it. How many times? It's like going on a diet. You just won't do it. Because ultimately, you don't want to see yourself like this. You're not a salesperson. All right? So, let's go back to lifetime value. Let's say your lifetime value of your customer, and this is where we're getting to the end. I'm sorry for sniffing. I can't believe I just sniffed. Shouldn't sniff on audio. So a lifetime value, let's say it's only $500 or $600 or $700 for the life. Probably not worth it for you to do. There's other things that you can do because eventually you're going to have to bring leads into your funnel and you run out of the free stuff pretty quickly. But if you're a consultant, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a coach, if you have thousands of dollars, a consultant very often charges $1,000 or $2,000 a month for coaching services or consulting services, or $3,000 a month, or $10,000 a month. This is a slam dunk for someone like you. If you're a coach, an accountability coach, a sales coach, a lot of these sales coaches, a marketing coach. If you're selling products like any kind of internet marketing or anything like that, or you're an accountant who has a lifetime value of a customer, or a dentist, it has to be what you have to do. You don't have the time to hire and train a salesperson, and you don't have the time to be one yourself. You're too busy chopping people's teeth. If you're a dentist, whatever. All right. So what we have is the Deej Hack 1800. That's what this product is. We'll do it for you. Okay. This is designed to create a consistent flow of interested, qualified prospects to flow through your sales funnel, and not just leave them there and leave it up to you, but convert them into customers so you don't have to. Isn't that great? That is great. So here's what you'll get. You get 1 full hour of business strategy and coaching per month. Right now, I charge $1,000 a month with my coaching clients. We do that. We create for you your perfect sales funnel. In other words, what will attract people to come in. So you meet somebody at a networking event, and they give you their card. Well, what do you do with them? You put it in your desk? No, what we're going to do is install them into our funnel so they get into our system, they get into our campaign, and then we go from there. We'll also be creating something similar to a website, but your website is basically a brochure right now. We're going to create a website for you that causes them to click here and take action. They have to do it or they wouldn't be there. We're going to brand a brand new sales campaign every month. You have to have a reason to contact your customer. Here's the deal. About 10% of the people that you meet, They'll do business with you no matter what. It's like your grandmother. Your grandmother's going to buy. No one's going to go to your grandmother and say, "Hey, uh, I have a lower price for insurance," and your grandmother's going, "Okay, good, I'll go with you." They're going to buy from you no matter what. There's about 20% on the bottom that will never buy from you, but there's about 70% in the middle that, given the right opportunity, the right time, the right life-changing event, if you stay in touch with them long enough, with the right sales campaign every month, and you keep in touch with them, they will eventually buy. You'd have to hire somebody for this. We charge $5,000. We're going to craft a series of 3 personalized letters for you. These are you. So this is your automation. You're a little Deej man with your personality. I just put a number on there because you'd have to. It's for copy like this. It's very common for people to pay tens of thousands of dollars for one letter. You're getting 3 a month. Scripted services for winning the business. This is my cold calling stuff. What happens when you actually do need to talk to a human being? That needs to be scripted too. What happens when people call you up on the phone? That needs to be scripted too. I do that right now. With this service, it's $500. Sales training, cold call training, a video membership. I have a membership site, which you probably have witnessed already. That'll be access to you forever. And the price also includes the platform to manage the whole process. We build the funnels for you. We do all this stuff. And so the people that are with us need to know we work on a particular platform that we have to go. So add it all up. It's $11,800 worth of value plus. If you hired a person, and it's not uncommon for a company to pay $150,000. I was a recruiter. We used to do that all the time for a marketing manager for your company. Plus is what you're adding here is you have to pay for pay-per-click ads. You have to pay for AdSense and all that stuff. But you're not going to pay all that. Oh, no. For the Deej Stack 1800, I just put 2 zeros next to it. That's what it costs per month, $1,800 per month. But I do have a one-time special because of you watching this to the end. You'll save up to $400 per month. That's $4,800 yearly. And how you're going to save that is this. What I will do, if you sign up in the next 24 hours, and I'll know because of all the automation that's going on here, what we will do is out of that $1,800, we will take up to $400 per month of that will go towards buying ads for you to fill your funnel. You will get immediate results and immediate people in there. The challenge with all people that sell marketing and online web service marketing is because whatever they do, it's always plus. It drives me crazy. And unbelievably, I will give you free money to advertise for you. We'll do that. You'll get the whole shooting match plus a guarantee that it's impossible. That if you don't see action sufficient to you, so if you decide I'm not seeing enough action within the first 30 days, I'll fully return your money. But for the software package, that's not me. We're going to buy that through someone else. That's not me. So I'm not earning anything from there, but I'll give you access to it. You can cancel it, but that $300, well, if the first 2, they'll give you a couple weeks free, but the $300 you're just going to have to pay that. But the rest, if you don't see it, and it's not what I say it is, 100% you'll get your money back, and you're dealing with me. So my question is, what color looks best in your kitchen? 24 hours from now, you got to do this. So here's you'll get this whole thing. I'll fully return your money. That's me. That's just me right in my backyard when I was redoing the yard there. That's who you know you're dealing with, all right? So the only thing you have to do to get started is just send me an email with the subject line that says hook me up. And we still don't know if we can work together, but what I'll do is I'll find out your business, I'll find out a little bit about you, we'll determine your lifetime value of your customer and decide whether or not it makes sense for you. I promise you this. If it makes sense to move forward, I'm going to let you know. If it doesn't, I'll let you know that too. Fair enough? By the way, that fair enough? That's a little trial close, isn't it? You got to use that stuff. So that's all the time we've got for now. I hope that went quickly enough for you and I didn't bore you too much. You are just one script away. You are just one sales letter away from automating your entire process and having a total influx of new clients forever. It just keeps happening. This is the new way. This is your flippy. Hire the Deej man to get straight. So right now, or within the next 24 hours of this, go to my email, dan@danjordan.com. Subject line, just say, hook me up. You could do capital H or not capital H, and we'll get back with you in 24 hours and get something rolling. Thank you so much for watching this to the end. I really appreciate it. From myself and my family. Eat well, whether or not you do something or not, or take action and not, please know that I wish nothing but good things to happen to you for the rest of your life. Eat well, live long, and prosper. I'm the Deej. Thank you so much.